I like creating pages where there's just kind of a bunch of embellishments kind of clustered together. And I'm going to give you a few tips about how to do that tonight. I first go into the embellishments that I want to use, and I like to use kits because they'll, of course, I'll already coordinate together, but of course it's fun to mix and match as well. So I'm going to use the Bloom embellishments, and the first thing I like to do is just kind of scroll through, and I like to just pull out a bunch of embellishments, even if I don't think I'm going to use them. So I just select the one I want and then click apply, and it will automatically drop it on my page and then allow me to continue to scroll through and select more. So like maybe this little butterfly. I just go through, and anything that I think might work or anything that appeals to me, I will drop it on my page. And then of course you can always go back in and delete things when you don't use them. But I find that it's easier just to have lots and lots of options right there on your page for you to use and play around with. So let's see, I have a few flowers, and I'll do one of these frames, and then I think I'll be done. So you'll see I have a whole bunch of embellishments in the middle of my page. Now the next thing I start to do is kind of just separate them out and see what I have. And then I go ahead and just start clustering. So I like to make, if you're going to do a big cluster, them all kind of small, so they all kind of, one doesn't really outshine another. They all are kind of the same size. I think that I like that look. I'll move this one back here. The other key trick is layering. So obviously this flower frame on top of those flowers is not working. So if you use these buttons, I can send this flower behind the other two. So I'll just go ahead and click send behind and send behind, and you'll see it just kind of puts it behind. And I want it to go actually behind a couple more things. And then I can resize that again and play around with it to make it however I would like it. I kind of like that actually. That's kind of cute. I'll move this back, and again I'm going to use that send object backwards to send it backwards. And the other thing I really like to do when using a bunch of embellishments is to use the opacity feature. For example, I really like this black little swirly line that leads to this cute little butterfly, but it's a little bit too black for my page. I want it to be a little bit softer, so I can just click on that, and then I can use this opacity slider to kind of change the opacity and make it a little subtler. So you can, I think, see a big difference when you do that. And then of course you can play around with the other options here. Somebody did ask a question about this reset button. So for example, if I click on this flower and I click reset, it will automatically resize it back to its original size and put it back in the middle of the page. It works actually really well. I should show you maybe with this little guy. Let's say that I mirror this and flip it around, and I've changed the opacity and I've kind of rotated it. Now if I click reset, it will take me right back to the center, change the opacity back, flip it the right way. So that's really helpful if you have done something to an embellishment and you don't like it and you want it to return to the original image that you started with. So anyway, go ahead, play around with some embellishments. Just get a whole bunch of them on there and kind of just play around with their placement and the opacity. You can rotate them, play around with the layers and all of that.